So we all know that the Golden State Warriors are really damn good. So good, in fact, that they're on pace to have the greatest regular season record in the history of the NBA. It's incredible to see. And they're doing it, of course, with the MVP Steph Curry and an assortment of two-way players who can just do way too many damn things well on the basketball floor. So, the question is it just inevitable that the Warriors are going to run through the NBA and be the champions of this league? Or is somebody going to make it at least a little tough for them? Well, I think the teams in this league who have a real chance of knocking off the Warriors, as weird of a thing as that is to say, probably San Antonio, Oklahoma City, and Cleveland. And I'm saying those three teams have a chance. And when I think about how those teams would go up against them, I really think about how would they match up against the Golden State lineup of death. Which of course is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, Andre Iguodala, and Draymond Green. I mean, we know with that offense, it's Steph, Draymond, pick and roll. Two guys go over on Steph, because if you don't, an open jumper's a layup for him. And then Draymond has all the room in the world to either shoot a three, where he's very good from, or he can put it on the floor and average his 7 assists a game as a power forward, and then you got to bring help defense, and then he kicks it off to either Barnes, Thompson, or Iguodala, who are all very good three-point shooters. And then on the other end of the floor, all 5 of those guys can defend and switch, and it's just ridiculous. So who can match up with that lineup? Well, if we look at some of the teams I just mentioned, let's start with the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are running a slightly slower style of play this season, less spacing, because the acquisition of LaMarcus Aldridge. You pair him up with Tim Duncan, you're just going to be a slower team, and as a result, they're posting up a bit more often. But at the same time, they're still shooting threes. They still have an appreciation for off-ball screens and cuts, and then, of course, Kawhi Leonard's growth into being one of the best players in this league, and not just defensively, but offensively as well. He's averaging 21 points a game. He's shooting, the guy's shooting 52 from the field, 50 from 3, and 88 from the free throw line. That's just incredible. Kawhi Leonard's growth and his isolation abilities, his ability to post up, it's really huge for San Antonio, and he's their best player. Of course, they're still a great passing team. They still got Greg Popovich holding the clipboard. So, do I think the Spurs could actually have a chance against Golden State? I definitely do. The thing is, I think the Spurs' best approach might be to just go big and play their style of play, because if you look at the Spurs lineups throughout the season, they're mainly playing 2 big men, whether it be Duncan or Aldridge, or Duncan and Diaw, or Aldridge and David West, whatever it may be. They're mainly running 2 big men. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to do a complete 180 the second you get to the conference finals and face Golden State, And the thing with the Spurs is they're actually a fantastic defensive team this year, mainly because of their smarts, not necessarily their athleticism, even though Kawhi Leonard is a god-tier defender. Because what they're doing is they'll just do little things like crowd you on the three-point line, which makes your offense just a little more difficult. Or the big man will bait you into shooting a 15-foot jumper, which is, of course, the least inefficient shot in the league today. And then you add all that up to Kawhi Leonard being as good of a defensive player as he is. Spurs are on pace to be the best defensive team in like 40 frickin' years, so there's that. The question is, could they match up with Golden State's lineup? I don't know, to be honest. If I picture it in my mind right now, a Steph Curry, Draymond Green pick and roll would probably involve, Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, or Diaw, or David West, or I don't know if they can defend that straight up. All respect to Tim Duncan, who's been a fine defensive player for a long time. I don't know if he's fast and quick enough to defend Draymond Green. I just don't know. But I do know that the Spurs, in terms of help defense, the fact that Kawhi Leonard is always lingering, they could figure it out, okay? Now, is figuring it out enough to beat the Warriors? I don't know, but they could at least make it interesting. I also think the Warriors will have to answer to the fact that Draymond Green might not have the easiest time in the world defending LaMarcus Aldridge, because Aldridge is really freaking tall. So there might be 2 or 3 guys in the league that Draymond will have a problem on defense with. Aldridge might be one of them, And we have to remember that at times Kawhi Leonard will end up on Steph Curry. Now granted, that means that Tony Parker ends up on Harrison Barnes or Klay Thompson, which is not a good thing if you're the Spurs, but I mean, Kawhi on Steph at times, that's going to disrupt Steph's flow because Kawhi is that good of a defender. So do I give the Spurs a real chance? Yes, I do, but that's just tough, man. It's tough to beat that Warriors team. Now let's look at Oklahoma City. The thing, in my opinion, if you're going to face the Warriors, all 5 guys on the floor need to be able to hit threes as well as defend. And right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder have 2 glaring weaknesses in that department. One is their shooting guard position, because they either have Andre Robertson or they have Anthony Morrow, or they're good on one side of the floor, they're not good on the other one. And with the Warriors being that good, like, all 5 guys got to be able to contribute on both sides of the floor, man. Now, the recent emergence of Cameron Payne for them is interesting because while he is a backup point guard, I do believe he has the ability to play off ball. I mean, he is shooting over 40% from 3, even if he hasn't taken, a super amount of threes, but he's taken enough to where that 40% is kind of justified. He's good, but he's really small. He's 6'3", 185 pounds. And if he's facing that Golden State lineup and he ends up on Klay Thompson or Harrison Barnes or Iggy, they're just going to post up on him like it's nothing. So I don't know if he can be out there in that game. And the other one is Enes Kanter is your backup center, who's probably the worst defensive big man in the NBA. You're going to put that guy up against Draymond Green, you're dead, man. So, the Thunder, they might have to experiment with Ibaka at the 5, because that's probably their best matchup against Draymond Green. Then you're looking at Durant at the 4, but then you can't escape the fact that eventually you're going to have to put one of your wing players in who either can't play defense or can't shoot. Now, granted, if you got Westbrook and Durant, you have Westbrook and Durant, but I mean, I've said it before, I think the Thunder have a trade in them to acquire that two-way shooting guard, and then I think you could say, alright, you might be able to match up with these guys. Even then, that's going to be tough, okay? Finally, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Weirdly enough, the Cavaliers may have revealed the formula to kind of give the Warriors headaches, which is just be as big as you possibly can be with Mozgov and Thompson and LeBron in the game and things like that. I mean, we saw the Cavaliers had pretty much the ugliest offense of all time push the Warriors to 6 games in the finals where they had LeBron James doing super isolations for like 20 seconds, and then he drives in and does whatever he wants. It slowed the Warriors down, and then on the other end, like Thompson and Mozgov's size, it did a little bit to Draymond Green, so I look for the Cavaliers to do the same thing. If the Cavs are looking to match up against the Warriors' small lineup, it's going to be like Kyrie, JR, Shumpert, Richard Jefferson, and LeBron. Like, I think the Cavs' best idea, they might be to be big. Just be big, kill them on the boards, finish inside, draw fouls. That might be the way to go. I mean, because Draymond Green loves to be kind of roaming around on defense, but Thompson's so good as an offensive rebounder, it's like, you kind of got to pay attention to him, you know? So, to sum all this up, nobody has a damn chance against the Warriors. Of course, they're going to break the Bulls' record, and they're going to win every playoff series in 3 games. Unless they face the Spurs, then it'll be really interesting. Anyway, that's going to do it. Golden State's really good, and I'm out.